You're not in love, you're addicted to a fantasy. They say love is blind. But sometimes, it's not love that's blind, it's us. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with the version of them we created in our minds. And sometimes, we fall so deeply into that illusion, that we forget to see the person who's actually standing in front of us. We project our needs, dreams, fears and desires onto someone else. We imagine they'll save us. Understand us completely. Fill every empty part of our soul. But what if they never agreed to play that role? Most relationships don't end because people change. They end because the fantasy fades. Because the mask we fell in love with slowly slips off, and what's underneath is simply human. Flawed. Different. Real. But what if this isn't the end? What if it's the beginning? The moment we see someone not as our fantasy, but as they really are, that's when true love begins. Love without illusions. Love with eyes open. Part 1. Falling in love with a reflection. You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with what they made you feel. With the hope, the attention, the possibility of being finally seen, accepted, and loved for who you are, or rather, who you hope to become. And in that moment, your mind began to build a castle. Brick by brick, fantasies, assumptions, dreams. You didn't see the person. You saw a mirror, one that reflected your deepest needs. We don't fall in love with reality. Reality is messy, inconsistent, full of contradictions. But fantasy? Fantasy is perfect. Controlled. Safe. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Part 2. Trauma wears the mask of love. Sometimes, what we call love is actually unresolved pain. We look for people who remind us of the love we didn't receive. The approval we were denied. The safety we never had. So we chase the unavailable. We romanticize the distant. We feel drawn to the ones who hurt us, not because it's love, but because it feels familiar. This is not your fault. It's how the mind protects itself. It builds patterns from the past, and repeats them in hopes of rewriting the ending. But the ending won't change, until you do. Part 3. When illusion breaks, truth begins. The moment of heartbreak is sacred. Because it's the moment when the illusion dies. When you finally see the other person clearly, and yourself even more clearly. Pain shows you where the lie lived. It reveals the gap between what you believed and what actually is. And in that painful clarity begins freedom. Maybe you weren't in love, maybe you were trying to heal through someone else. But healing doesn't come from them. It comes from you, choosing to face your own heart, without distraction. Part 4. Learning to love with open eyes. There's a kind of love that doesn't rush. That doesn't obsess. That doesn't need to possess. It's the kind of love that grows slowly, like the roots of an old tree. Quiet. Steady. Deep. Real love begins when illusion ends. Not when someone fits your fantasy, but when you accept them, in all their complexity, and they accept you in yours. It's not a fairy tale. It's more beautiful than that, because it's real. I once knew a woman who said she only ever fell for emotionally unavailable men. She said they made her heart race, made her feel alive. But after her 5th heartbreak, she asked herself, what am I really chasing? And the answer was painful. She was chasing the love her father never gave her. She wasn't in love with the men, she was in love with the idea of finally being chosen. When she realized that, something shifted. The next man she met wasn't flashy or mysterious. He didn't keep her guessing. He showed up. He listened. He cared. And for the first time, she felt peace. When she realized that, something shifted. The next man she met wasn't flashy or mysterious. He didn't keep her guessing. He showed up. He listened. He cared. And for the first time, she felt peace. To love with open eyes means to love someone not because they complete you, but because you are complete. And now, you can finally share that completeness, not demand it. Part 5. The mirror turns inward. What if the greatest love story of your life isn't about someone else? What if it's about the moment you finally turned to face yourself, and didn't look away? We're taught to look outward for love. Movies, songs, books, they all tell us that love is something we find. But the deepest kind of love is not found. It's remembered. It's reclaimed. Imagine meeting yourself for the first time, not as a critic, but as a friend. What would you say? What would you forgive? What would you finally stop hiding? Loving yourself isn't a trend. It's a rebellion. In a world that profits from your self-doubt, choosing to be kind to yourself is a radical act. It's how healing begins, and how true love finally becomes possible. Part 6. What you deserve is real. There's a quiet grief that lives in people who have settled. Settled for relationships that didn't nourish them. For love that felt more like survival than joy. And over time, they begin to believe, maybe this is all there is. But that's a lie whispered by fear and repeated by loneliness. The truth is, real love exists. Not perfect love, but present, patient, evolving love. Love that sees you, even when you can't see yourself. When we believe we deserve more, we start to choose differently. We stop chasing chaos. We stop settling for crumbs. We begin to hold space for something greater. And slowly, life responds. A man once told me, I don't believe love is meant for people like me. He had grown up watching his parents scream, cheat, leave. He thought love was war. But over the years, he learned something softer. Love is not loud. It's consistent. Love is when someone holds your hand and stays. When they don't punish your honesty. When they don't disappear at your worst. And when they don't need you to shrink so they can shine. Part 7. Becoming the love you seek. Here's the twist most of us don't expect. Before the right person arrives, you often have to become them, for yourself. If you long for someone patient, be patient with yourself. If you desire someone who listens, start by listening to your own heart. If you crave safety, stop abandoning yourself in the name of others. The love we attract mirrors the love we cultivate inside. This isn't magic. It's maturity. You no longer chase chaos because peace has become your standard. And people will either rise to meet it, or fade away. You are not hard to love. You just forgot what it feels like to be truly seen. And the more you remember who you are, the less you'll tolerate anything less than respect, tenderness, and truth. Part 8. When love is a teacher, not a trap. Many of us confuse love with repetition. We mistake emotional intensity for connection. If our heart races, we think it must be real. If there's drama, we assume it's passion. But often, it's just our wounds calling out for familiarity. True love doesn't feel like a storm. It feels like coming home. There's still excitement, yes, but it's rooted in safety, not survival. It challenges us not through pain, but through growth. Love, when healthy, is a mirror and a mentor. It reflects what we still need to heal. It teaches us patience, communication, humility. And sometimes, the lesson is that we've outgrown the place we used to settle. I once loved someone who didn't know how to receive love. Every compliment made him suspicious. Every act of care felt like a threat. I tried to fix it, love harder, but in the end, I realized, love cannot be forced into someone's closed hands. And that, too, was a lesson. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is walk away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because real love is not about sacrificing your soul to save someone else's wounds. Part 9. Healing the inner child through connection. Inside each of us lives a child who remembers everything. The way we were comforted, or ignored. The words that built us up, or tore us down. And no matter how old we get, those echoes still shape how we give and receive love. You might find yourself pushing away good people. Or clinging to those who hurt you. Not because you're broken, but because your inner child is trying to make sense of pain by repeating it, hoping this time it ends differently. Love becomes healing when it listens without judgment. When someone looks at your wounds and doesn't flinch. When you can say, "This is where I'm still learning," and they say, "I'm not going anywhere." But to receive that kind of love, we have to be honest. Not just with others, but with ourselves. We have to admit, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I still long for the safety I never got. And that vulnerability? That's where true love begins. Part 10. When love becomes a choice, not a coincidence. Real love isn't something we fall into. It's something we grow into. It's not always lightning bolts or movie scenes. Sometimes, it's quiet. It's in the way someone remembers how you take your tea. The way they stay when things get hard. The way they see your shadow, and still choose you. We spend so much time chasing sparks that we miss the slow-burning fire. The one that stays lit even on the darkest nights. The one that doesn't flare and vanish, but warms your soul steadily, patiently, without drama. Love is a choice, every day. To show up. To be kind. To speak honestly even when your voice shakes. To grow not just as a couple, but as individuals standing side by side, not tangled up in each other, but supporting one another. And the most powerful love story? It's the one you write with yourself first. Because only when you honor your own soul can you truly honor another. When you learn to hold your own heart gently, you stop demanding someone else to carry it for you. So maybe love isn't about finding the one. Maybe it's about becoming the one, the kind of person who loves deeply, bravely, and with clarity. Who knows their worth, speaks their truth, and gives love not to be saved, but to share light. If you've ever felt broken, lost, or too much, hear this now: you are still worthy of love. And the more you learn to love yourself, the more you'll see, you were never too much. You were always just enough for the right heart. If this story touched something inside you, if you found even a single sentence that felt like it was written just for you, then don't let this moment pass. Subscribe to this channel. Not just for more videos, but for more clarity, more healing, more truth. Here, we grow together. We ask the hard questions. We dig deeper. And most importantly, we remind each other that we're not alone on this journey. Every week, we take one small step toward understanding ourselves better. Toward building the life, and love, that we truly deserve. So, stay. Join the others who've chosen to wake up, to feel more, to live more. Because healing doesn't happen overnight. But it does happen, one insight, one choice, one video at a time. See you in the next one. And until then, take care of your heart. It's always been your greatest guide.